like, and he's got his headphones on, and he's ready to go, and, you know, it's a great fight scene, so he's really getting into it. Well, the very first line of his session that day just happened to be the one where Apollo responds to this long, lovey-dovey monologue that Toma has given him. So he had the very last thing he heard in his headphones before having to come in for his cue was the sound of my voice saying, "Glisten." And his response was, rather than deliver the line, he very calmly wrenched the headphones off of his head, bolted out of the booth at full tilt. I mean, like running as if to the bathroom after an unfortunate lunch. I mean, the man was just, you'd think his life depended on it, and I had to go and run after him. And I found him, you know, crouched in the fetal position in the break room, rocking back and forth, just muttering, no, I can't do this, I'm not going back in there, I can't do this, this is too much, you've got to turn yourself off. And, you know, all in good fun, of course, but, you know, he wasn't going to let me get away with that all that easily. But, yeah, to this day, it's great. It's a great party trick, you know. Bevins and I are in the room together. I just have to whisper glisten in his ear, and he just balls up like a doodle bug.
Oh. Well,
it was an earlier episode of the same series where Apollo lets out this blood-curdling shriek after Toma calls him his beloved, and Bevins is very fond of letting me know. That scream was not acting. He said that was a very natural, honest, genuine reaction to the sound of your voice calling me your beloved.
Oh, that story gets better every time. And now I can listen to it anytime I want because this is recorded.
Yeah, so and please, the more people that know this story, the more uncomfortable Bevins gets, and so that's how I gauged whether or not, you know, I was doing my job as a director, is how uncomfortable I made my actors. So.
Well, that is awesome because we have a lot of fans that listen to this show weekly. So, sorry, Bivens. Now we got a question in the chat box. I was actually going to ask this later, but it came in the chat box. So, Lady Une from An Ninja Legion asks, what is J. Michael's favorite role thus far?
My favorite role thus far? That's a tough one, you know, because you could almost ask me and different days and my answer will be different every time. This is a very boring answer and it sounds like a cop-out, but the truth is I really love what I do so much that it's hard to pick a favorite. There's some, you know, I have so much fun doing it that, you know, I love playing Guard A in some show is just as much fun half the time as playing Kyoya, you know. I mean, I do have ones that I will go back and I'm like ones that I'll always, you know, roles that sort of catapulted me to fangirl and fanboy awareness, things like, well, Kyoya, for example, will always have a special place in my heart because Ouran was a great show and I was really thrilled to be part of it. And I mean, come on, I got to be in a show with like Caitlin Glass and Vic Mignogna and Greg Ayers and, you know, Lucy, all these wonderful people, you know, that was really a great moment for me. In recent memory, two of the roles I've played that I had the most fun with, just in terms of how ridiculous we got and how much we would laugh in the booth while recording it, was Isaac Dean from Bakano. It was ridiculous, and we would have so much fun recording that. Tyler Walker directed that, and he would just look at me while recording and laugh because of the sort of body poses I would have to adopt. Right? Like, what? And similar with Komui from D.Gray-Man. It's a lot of fun. It was kind of new territory for me, playing that shrieky, shrill, crazy guy that everyone was like, wow, you go from Domaki to that? So that was a lot of fun, but it's hard to choose a favorite. If I had to absolutely have to choose a favorite, I would say it's probably still a toss-up between Kyoya and Domaki, though, just in terms of you know, those are still, Domaki I was still relatively new as a voice actor, and so he was a very important role for me. And Kyoya, just because I love that show. I'm a big Ouran nerd. I love that show. So when the auditions happened, I was like, please, I want to be in it, I want to be in it, I want to be in it, I want to be in it. Which is very rare for me. I usually try not to grasp after anything too much, you know, because the competition is so fierce, you don't want to get your hopes up. But with that, I wanted to play Kyoya bad.
Oh, so. I definitely watched that show, and every time I, like, you know, heard you or anyone, I was like, dang, it sounds like they're having a blast while they're recording it. So
oh, we did. We all of us, I think, cried when that show was over. You know, we all had a tear. I know that Vic did. I know that Caitlin did. I certainly did. My last day of recording, we kind of, you know, Caitlin sort of turned to me after it was done and we laughed and just, you know, I'm like, is there anything you want to go back and look at and maybe get again? Just be over. And and she got a photo of me holding the Ouran bunny that we had. It was our mascot in the booth, and that was the last day of recording on that show.
Oh, well, we got another question from the chat box. RJ asks, do you play video games, and if so, which ones do you like to play?
I don't play a lot of video games just because I don't have time. I do, however, have a Wii, which has made me a big believer in Mario Kart. I'm addicted to Mario Kart. I think the week I got the Wii, I went out and bought myself Mario Kart because I remember playing it on a much older platform years ago and loving it. And I thought, why not? Let's relive my childhood. And I think I didn't leave the house for like 7 days. I mastered Mario Kart and broke every level and was just crazy. And now no one will play me on Mario Kart. No one. They refuse. It was a rare week off for me, and so I just spent it playing Mario Kart. And hey, you know,
well,
good. But I think anything Mario is really fun. But now I don't play a lot of video games just because I don't have the time, unfortunately. But you know, one day.
Yes. Another one is, you actually told this story at AFS too, but it was also a really interesting story. How did you become a voice actor?
That one, this is another Bevan story. This was back in 2005. I had never really intended to be an actor of any kind. I studied acting and did plays and things when I was younger and in school, but I never really had my sights set on it as a career. I had other ideas. And, you know, Bevins and I, of course, go way back. We've been very close friends for a number of years now. And about 2005, he was slated to direct the English dub of Samurai 7, a show that he'd been chomping at the bit to work on for a while, I believe. And he ran into a snag during the audition process. He just could not find, apparently, anyone that he thought was perfect for Rikichi, the farmer, the character who, you know, is really in some ways, along with several of the other villagers, really part of the, you know, heart of the story. And so he just, I don't know what he was thinking, but he called me out of the blue and asked if I'd be interested to come and audition for the part. And, you know, I'll be honest, when he first asked me, I turned him down. I was terrified at the idea of going into audition. I'd never set foot in front of a mic before. You know, I had been a big anime fan for years, but that made it even more terrifying because I thought, oh no, I can't do this. This is stuff I watch on TV. I can't. That's not me. I'm not cut out for this. And you know, but Bevins, as I quickly learned, is not the sort of person that takes no for an answer ever. And he just, you know, for him, when he casts a show and when he directs a show, he is very much a perfectionist. We're very fond up at Funimation of calling him sort of the Stanley Kubrick of the directing bunch up there, because he is absolutely just, he can be very intense in the booth, but it's great. Actors love working with him for that reason. But once he gets his mind on a read or an actor for a particular role, he does not let go. And he hounded me for, he must have been a week or 2 weeks or something. I forget now, but he just kept calling and kept, you know, arguing the point with me, like, hey, look, just come in and audition. If you suck, we'll laugh, and then we'll never speak of it again. Now, what have you got to lose? And I finally relented and agreed to come and audition, I think, just to get him off my back. Prove to him, look, see, I stink. See, you're wasting your time. And so I went in to audition for this show, and because I knew a lot about the show, he explained it to me, and of course it's based on one of my all-time favorite films, so I was incredibly nervous and thought, there's no way I'm gonna get anywhere near nailing this. And what I thought was just a really long audition process that was very intricate and complicated actually turned out to be our recording the first 2 or 3 episodes. And so when I stepped out of the booth with this very smug look on my face,